I now have the pleasure of introducing some folks to talk to us a little bit about kind of the other heart of Quiet Oaks, and that's the volunteer program. When Joe first shared the story with me of the dream as it got started and the great gift that the Whitlocks bestowed on us, I was really in awe. And I thought, what an incredible and amazing gift it was that Dan and Judy Whitlock would gift their home to Quiet Oaks so that this ministry could be set forth and all of these people served, all of these people who've come through that front door. And I go back to that story as they shared it when they first met Dan and Judy and all the happenstance things, and there's so many great stories, but it really just touched me. And I kind of surmise that based on the size of the house and the 10 acres and the property, they were probably ready to give up some of the work that went with all that. So it seemed somewhat fitting. But what really surprised me was to find that Dan and Judy never walked away and closed those doors. Dan comes out and mows that great big huge lawn every week. And you will find Judy in the kitchen cooking there and then responsible for helping with the wonderful setup of this evening. We are very pleased, and I'd like to introduce Dan and Judy Whitlock. They are a part of the heart of Quiet Oaks.
Well, Linda gave away some of our secrets of volunteering. Hi, Warren. I'm Judy Whitlock.
And I'm Dan Whitlock. We're volunteers at Quiet Oaks. In their book, By the People, The History of Americans as Volunteers, Ellis and Campbell defined volunteers as, quote, people who choose to act in recognition of a need. They're people who give their time, their effort, and their talent to meet a need or support a cause or further a mission without profiting monetarily. End of quote. Judy and I are proud to be here this evening representing volunteers, and we'd like to tell you a bit more about what it means to us to support Quiet Oaks.
Even though we volunteers do not profit monetarily, we profit in so many other ways. It's the feeling of satisfaction in being involved in something bigger than each of us individually. And to Dan and I personally, being a volunteer at Quiet Oaks gives us a sense that we are involved in a universal issue that touches all humanity. Back in 2005, when we first met Joe and Mary Bauer, we had no idea what our volunteer experience might look like for the next 11 years. In 2005, I met Joe at Panera Bread. I was there talking with a friend about what to do with our Galaxy Road house, and Joe was there talking with a friend about how to find a house. That Joe and I actually met seems quite remarkable. Dan and I believe it was a sacred encounter.
For us, that meeting was a once-in-a-lifetime mountaintop experience. We then needed to translate that experience into the day-in, day-out reality of how to bring the Quiet Oak dream to fruition. We discovered that real-life hard work is accomplished mainly through volunteerism. I'm going to read you a quote from the Quiet Oaks website, history section. Quote, "The story of Quiet Oaks Hospice House cannot be told without the incredible effort of volunteers who believed in the dream. From May 2006 through September 2008, hundreds of volunteers, all ages, joined forces to care for the home, introduce the project to the community, and create systems of operation. Quiet Oaks could not have happened without their commitment and dedication during this developmental phase of the project." End quote. We had volunteer believers back then for whom we are extremely grateful. And we have volunteer believers today who are the soul that keeps the dream alive.
In addition to our long-term experience with Quiet Oaks, we've had some personal experience as well. First of all, my father was asked and honored. He was a Presbyterian minister. He was asked to offer the prayers at the groundbreaking of Quiet Oaks. So I have the wonderful memory of him doing that, and I remember the prayer that he asked for, that Quiet Oaks be a place of refuge for all people, no matter what their religious or non-religious tradition might be. I'm very proud of that. And then, a few years later, a friend of mine came in the house. My mom and dad lived with us for the last 3 years of their lives. And a friend came in the house and said, "Wayne, let's go volunteer at Quiet Oaks." So she took him and said, "Let's do this." They filled out all the paperwork for being a volunteer. And at 95, my father went out and volunteered at Quiet Oaks. So I don't know if that's the oldest. I don't know if we have any records of such things, but that is something that I'm also very proud of. My parents were married for 75 years. They both died at Quiet Oaks on January 23rd. Mom in 2012, and Dad exactly a year later. Because of the compassionate care that I received from everyone, and especially the nurses, I was able to hold both my mom and dad in my arms as they passed to their eternal home. Now, I want to support that compassionate care so that others can experience whatever is important to you. And for Dan and me, the natural expression of our gratitude is volunteer.
Quiet Oaks has many volunteers who, like us, experienced that compassionate care toward their loved ones and now want to give back to Quiet Oaks.
We also have volunteers whose hearts have been touched by the death of a loved one, but not at Quiet Oaks. And they understand the benefit of this special place and want to be of service.
We have volunteers who have no experience with the death of a loved one, but who are touched by the mission and want to give their time.
And we have volunteers from businesses with employees who have a very wide variety of experiences with end of life and may now choose to volunteer at Quiet Oaks as a group. Sometimes they help with yard cleanup or other odd jobs, and they bring enthusiasm and hard work to our environment.
Doug Adamak is seated at our table and is one of these people who brought his business out this summer for a day of service at Quiet Oaks. We have being a volunteer when things are new and exciting is a wonderful gift for which we're grateful, and being a volunteer for the ongoing day-to-day, day in, day out work of running Quiet Oaks takes a different kind of commitment. And we need both of these. We're blessed to have all volunteer believers come together to serve this wonderful hospice house.
Our volunteers are committed to providing comfort, care, and dignity to our residents and their families by supporting Quiet Oaks through whatever needs to be done. Our volunteers have recognized a need and stepped up to the plate. Whether that is for patient support or house support or property support or any other identified need, we volunteers love what we do and are committed to our cause.
The personal joy that Judy and I receive from giving our time to Quiet Oaks is one of life's pleasures that keeps us going. My main responsibility, as Linda mentioned earlier, is mowing the lawn. I do it so that the first impression for residents and families is as beautiful and welcoming as possible. That gives me a great deal of joy. But an additional helping of joy comes after I'm done mowing and I go into the house for a cookie. Maybe two. On a great day, I have 3. I'm grateful to the volunteers who love to bake cookies because I love the warm, aroma-filled atmosphere of the kitchen where cookies are baked and meals are prepared and served to the residents and their families. I love to talk to those gathered at the tables as they share their meals. The kitchen is a gathering place where we all come together.
My responsibilities have included several opportunities. My first involvement was in volunteering with resident care. The nurses and residents and families welcomed me as I participated in providing comfort to those we serve. I've also worked as a special projects volunteer, which I love because it allows me to do fun things like helping with autumn reflections. And please know that if you got the wrong dessert, it's my fault. I've also helped in the kitchen. You know, you don't have to be a great cook to help in the kitchen. You just have to want to help out. The first time my friends and I helped in the kitchen, we incinerated the bacon in the oven. We still laugh heartily when we think about that. Our joy is in the camaraderie we feel every time we get together with other volunteers and staff, no matter what the work.
So we thank you for hearing what volunteering at Quiet Oaks means to us. And we encourage you all of you here this evening who have never been to Quiet Oaks to come out and take a look around. Take a tour and see if your heart speaks to you about something that you see that you'd like to be a part of. Bring a friend to join you in a volunteering adventure.
And for those of you who already know Quiet Oaks, but have not yet found the right opportunity to volunteer, or maybe you used to volunteer, but have been doing other things for a while, we invite you to come out, talk with a volunteer coordinator, and see what might work for you.
And for any businesses who might enjoy bringing your staff out to Quiet Oaks for a work day, we'd love to talk.
So now I would like for volunteers who are in this room, volunteers at Quiet Oaks, to please stand. One of the things that I recognize is that people like Lynn and Pat didn't stand, and they're nurses, but they also helped a lot tonight, so they do whatever they can. It's such a wonderful environment where everybody pitches in. For our volunteers who are here tonight, you give hours and hours of your time to support Quiet Oaks, and we sincerely thank you. Your commitment is what makes us tick.
As we end this evening, let us bring you back to the definition we mentioned at the beginning. Volunteers are people who, quote, choose to act in recognition of a need. They're people who give their time, their effort, and talent to meet a need or support a cause or further a mission or further the mission. End of quote. These words describe all of our volunteers at Quiet Oaks. And because Quiet Oaks is a wonderfully inclusive house where all are welcome, we'd love to have you join us. Thank you.